Welcome to the California High School Exit Exam in Mathematics portion of www.happynumbers.org. We're dealing with the strand which is called number sense, and we're going to deal with a particular type of problem called calculating profit, calculating how much profit someone made from something. We'll go through some examples and you'll see how this works. Okay, let's take a look at an example here. Well, first of all, profit deals with figuring out how much actual money one makes. Profit problems will always include a starting value, and a percent. Skill alert. You will need to be able to change a percent to a decimal, to do these kinds of problems. And if you go to the video events section of www.happynumbers.org and you scroll down to the areas where it presents the videos for percents, there is a specific video there that talks about how to change a percent to a decimal. You may want to review that skill before going on, or you can come back here and I'll give you a brief review on it. To change a percent to a decimal, you move the decimal place 2 places to the left. 2 places to the left. And here's a tip I use to remember that. I'm going to be changing a percent to a decimal. Well, I have the alphabet here. Now, the letter P, which percent begins with, comes after the letter D, which decimal begins with. So if I want to change a percent to a decimal, or a P to a D, I have to move to the left. And I move 2 places to the left. So that's how I remember it. To change a percent to a decimal, you move the decimal place 2 places to the left from P to D. Let's take a look at an example here. 25%, and if I have to change this to a decimal, I move the decimal 2 places to the left. Well, there really is a decimal right here after the 5 in 25%. We just don't write it. We don't write it. So if we were to move it 2 places to the left, we'd go 1, 2, and we would be here. So 25% is 25 hundredths, or 0.25. And by the way, you should know that the percent sign actually means denominator 100. Actually means denominator 100. So this is 25 hundredths. Let's take a look at example number 2. 4%. I want to change it to a decimal. I know I have to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So I start here, and 1 place would bring me here, but then I have to put a 0 in so I can put the decimal place. So I start there, and I went 1 and 2 and put the decimal right there. Let's take a look at this one, example 3. If I wanted to change 45 6/10% to a decimal, I move the decimal 2 places to the left from P to D, 2 places to the left, and I would get 456 thousandths, or 0.456. Last one. 6.5% to a decimal. Well, I have to move the decimal 2 places to the left, so there is a decimal point right here by the 6. So if I move it 2 places, 1 place, and I have to put a 0 in to hold it, and there's my second place, and it would be 6 1/2 hundredths, or 0.06 1/2. Okay, that's a quick review on how to change a percent, to a decimal. You move 2 places to the left, and the way I remember it is I'm going from P to D, and if I'm in the alphabet, if I went from P to D, I would be going to the left. Let's take a look at some problems that deal with profit now. Jana bought a car for $4,200 and later sold it for 30% profit. How much did Jana sell the car for? All right, some things we need to know. We need to know the starting value of the car, which was $4,200, and we need to know the profit, which was 30%. Okay, so we know that. Now, to figure out, percent profit was 30%. Now, to figure out the profit, we take the starting value and we multiply it by the percent, and the percent must be changed to a decimal. And then the profit will equal 4,200 multiplied by 0.30, because 30%, to change it to a decimal, I move 2 places to the left, 0.30. So 4,200 multiplied by 30 hundredths, so 0.30, will give me $1,260. Now, that is the profit, but she says, how much did she sell the car for? So she made a 30% profit in the initial cost. So we have to put the initial cost of the car, $4,200, plus the 30% profit, which we figured to be $1,260. So she sold the car for $5,460. Let me just review that. To find out how much she sold the car for, well, she would sell the car for the starting value of the car plus 30% profit. So we have to add the starting value and 30% profit. We know the starting value, $4,200, and we calculated the percent profit by multiplying the starting value by 30%, or 0.30, and we got 1,260. We add these two together, and that's how much she sold the car for. Let's take a look at another problem. A popular style jean is marked up 250% from the factory manufacturer's price of $14.50. What will the purchase price of the jeans be? Okay. So the manufacturer's factory price of the jeans are $14.50. So that must be our starting value. And then it's marked up 250%. So those are the two things that I think we need to know. Starting value is $14.50, but the store is increasing its profit, its percent profit, by 250%. So we want to figure out what they're selling the jeans for. Well, the profit is equal to the starting value times the percent, but the percent must be changed to a decimal. So the profit is equal to the starting value of $14.50 times 250% changed to a decimal. Well, we move the decimal point 2 places, and it'll be 1 place, 2 places. So we have 2 and 50 hundredths, or 2.50. So we multiply that by $14.50, and we get $36.25. Now, the initial cost of the jeans from the manufacturer is $14.50. The store is adding on 250% profit, which we calculated to be $36.25. So you actually are paying $50.75 for the jeans. Again, let's just review this problem. The initial cost for the store to buy the jeans from the factory is $14.50. Then the store says, okay, we want to make 250% profit. So we figured out the profit that they make. We took the starting value and we multiplied it by 250%, only 250% in decimal form, which is 2 and 50 hundredths, or 2.50. So they added on, and we got $36.25. So the store is going to add on a profit of $36.25 to the cost of the initial jeans. So when you go and buy the jeans, they cost $50.75. And actually, this is what stores do. All stores do this. Well, good. Let's take a look at one more problem. Crowley Brothers Lighting and Electrical Company made $450,000 last year. The expenses, including payroll for the year, were 36% of their profits. The remaining money was shared equally by two brothers who run the business. How much did each brother get? Well, interesting problem. This is a tricky one because it has a couple of parts to it. But let's analyze this here. The company made $450 last year. That was their gross income. That was all the money they made. But the company had expenses of 36% of the $450,000, or of their gross income. So they made $450,000, but 36% of that was expenses. So we want to figure out their net income, actually how much money they got. Well, their net income is equal to their gross income, which is $450,000, minus the expenses, which is $36,000. So 36%. So we would take 36% of $450,000, and that would give us their expenses. We would subtract their expenses from their gross income, from their total income, and then that would tell us how much profit they made. But then that profit was equally divided by two brothers, so we'd have to take their net income and then divide it by 2, and then we would know how much each brother got. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so our starting value is $450,000, and we know the percent expenses is 36%. So let's see how we work it. Expenses is equals the starting value times the percent, and the percent must be changed to a decimal. Well, expenses equals, we know the starting value is $450,000 times 36%, but 36% is changed into decimal form, which is 36 hundredths or 0.36. And if we multiply that, we get $162,000. So that's their expenses, 162. They made a total of 450,000, but we have to take 162 subtracted from that because that's their expenses. So their net profit would be 450,000 minus 162,000, which gives us $288,000. So this is the actual money that they got after they paid their expenses and all their bills. Now remember, there were two brothers and they get an equal share of that. So we have to divide 288 by 2, and that'll tell us what each brother gets. Well, $288,000 divided by 2 is $144,000. So each brother will get $144,000. Interesting problem. Interesting. Let's try another one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if you can do this. Okay, the Wharcom Industries profits for 2006 were 15% higher than the previous year. So obviously in 2005, their profits in 2006 were 15% higher than their profits in 2005. If the 2005 profits were $680,000, what were the profits for 2006? Okay. Let's see if you can work this problem. Now, analyze the problem first. Make sure you understand and see if you can give it a try. Remember, to get the profit, amount of profit, it is the starting value times some kind of a percentage. And in this case, it would be 15%. We'll put the DVD or video on pause and try and work this problem. Then turn it back on and I'll go over it with you. Okay, let's analyze the problem. Company's profits for 2005 were $680,000. $680,000. That was the starting value. The company's profits for 2006 were 15% higher than the 2005 profits. 2006 profits will equal 2005 profits plus the 15% increase. So we have to figure out the 15% increase and add it to the 2005 profits, and that'll tell us the 2006 profits. We know the starting value in 2005, $680,000, and we know the percent increase in 2006 was 15%. And we know we're going to have to change 15% to a decimal. Okay. Increase in profits from 2005 to 2006 are equal to $680,000 times 15%, changed to a decimal fraction, which is 15 hundredths or 0.15. And that gives us $102,000. $102,000 increase from their 2005 profits. 2006 profits are equal to the 2005 profits plus the 15% increase, which was $102,000. So 2006 profits is equal to $680,000 plus $102,000, which was a 15% increase. So their profits for 2006 were $782,000. That's a 15% increase from their 2005. Well, good. Okay, that's it for calculating profits. Again, the key concept here is that you take the starting value times the percent, but the percent must be changed to a decimal. Okay, the starting value times a percent. Excellent. Thank you for your time, and we will see you next time.